The escape pod hurtled through the atmosphere, leaving a trail of smoke and fire in its wake. Amelia Frost gripped the controls with white knuckles as warnings blared all around her. The small vessel was never designed for planetary entry, especially not a crash landing, Ember. Her dragon companion chirped anxiously from his containment chamber, a special pocket dimension attached to her suit. The tiny creature sensed her fear, his scales shifting from deep blue to anxious amber. The Nexari Collective had attacked without warning, their massive warships descending upon the human colony ship like predators. Amelia watched helplessly as the other escape pods were picked off one by one until only hers remained spinning toward an unknown world warning. Critical failure imminent, the computer announced in a calm voice that belied their situation. Amelia closed her eyes and whispered a final command: Ember Protect Mode. Activate. The dragon chamber hummed as the neural link between them intensified. Ember would remain safe even if she did not survive. Impact came with a deafening roar of twisting metal and shattering systems. Darkness followed. Amelia awoke to the taste of blood and the smell of burning circuitry. Every muscle screamed in protest as she forced herself to move. The escape pod had carved a deep furrow through dense alien forest before coming to rest against a massive tree trunk. Despite the violence of the crash, she lived. Human engineering, she thought with grim satisfaction. Deathworld design principles built into every component. The Nexari would never understand how humans could survive impacts that would liquefy their fragile forms. Ember chirped again, louder this time. Amelia pressed her hand against the chamber, release allowing the small dragon to emerge. His wingspan barely reached across her shoulders, but his intelligent eyes surveyed their surroundings with predatory focus. They will come for us, Amelia told her companion. They saw our trajectory. The dragon huffed a small puff of smoke in response before leaping to the ground. His claws easily found purchase on the alien soil as he began to explore their crash site. Amelia took stock of their situation. The pod was destroyed beyond repair, but much of the emergency equipment remained intact. She retrieved the survival pack containing basic tools, water purification tablets, and nutrient bars. Inside was also her most prized possession, a multifunction knife crafted from materials that could cut through almost any substance known to humanity. A simple tool by Earth standards, but one that would be considered a weapon of war among the stars. Night would fall soon, Amelia realized, watching the unfamiliar sun dipping toward the horizon. She needed shelter, water, and defenses. The Nexari would send scouts to confirm her death, and she intended to disappoint them. With methodical efficiency, she began salvaging useful materials from the wreckage. Sections of hull plating became crude spears when attached to broken support struts. Damaged power cells could be rigged to create electrical traps. Fiber optic cabling transformed into tripwires and snares. Every human child learned these skills in basic education. The universe was hostile, and unforgiving human survival depended on turning anything into a tool or weapon. Ember returned as she finished constructing a simple lean-to shelter hidden among dense foliage. The dragon carried a small, rodent-like creature in his jaws, already dead. His genetic engineering allowed him to hunt and assess the safety of potential food sources. Not bad, Amelia praised, taking the offering. She examined the creature carefully before using her knife to prepare it for cooking. The meat would provide valuable protein, while she assessed the local plant life for edibility. As darkness fell, Amelia completed her first perimeter of defenses. A series of simple traps surrounded their position. Basic snares triggered deadfalls and pit traps with sharpened stakes. Nothing sophisticated, just fundamental techniques taught to human children during wilderness training. Ember curled against her chest as she settled into the shelter, his body temperature rising to keep her warm in the cooling night air. Through their neural link, she could sense his contentment despite their dire situation. The bond between them transcended ordinary pet and owner relationships. The dragon was part of her, an extension of her will and consciousness. Sleep came in fitful bursts. Amelia woke at each unfamiliar sound, her hand instinctively reaching for her improvised spear. The alien forest teemed with life creatures moving through undergrowth. Strange calls echoing among trees with phosphorescent bark dawn brought new purpose. Amelia expanded her defensive perimeter, setting more elaborate traps and creating false trails to confuse pursuers. She found a stream nearby with water that Ember confirmed was safe to drink after filtering a cluster of plants with tuber-like roots provided additional food. By midday, she had established a secondary shelter, a fallback position should her first location be discovered. The work was grueling, but necessary. Her muscles burned with exertion, yet she continued methodically following protocols established through centuries of human survival experience. Ember suddenly tensed, his scales flashing warning red. He hissed softly, head turning toward the sky. Amelia followed his gaze and spotted it. A faint distortion in the atmosphere, a Nexari scout ship employing stealth technology that would fool most species, but not a genetically enhanced dragon with senses evolved from Earth predators. "They found us sooner than expected," Amelia whispered, gathering her weapons. The elf-like modifications to her genetic structure, originally designed for enhanced adaptation to low-gravity environments, gave her naturally pointed ears and a graceful appearance that belied her deadly capabilities. She retreated to a position of advantage, a natural outcropping that provided cover while allowing her to observe the approaching threat. Through a crude scope fashioned from salvaged pod components, she watched the Nexari vessel land in the clearing created by her crash-sick soldiers emerged. In formation, their armored forms moving with practiced precision. They carried energy weapons and scanning devices, their helmets concealing their true appearances. Amelia knew they considered themselves apex predators, the dominant force in the Audim galaxy. They had never encountered a human from Earth. The Nexari approached the wreckage with weapons raised, communicating through subvocal implants. Amelia could not hear their words but understood their intent. They sought confirmation of her death and retrieval of any useful technology. The first soldier triggered one of her snares, a simple rope trap that yanked him upward, suspending him helplessly. The others immediately formed a defensive circle, weapons scanning for threats. One fired blindly into the forest, energy bolts scorching trees where Amelia had been moments before. She had already moved, circling behind them. Ember flew silently overhead, his dark scales blending with shadows. Their neural link allowed perfect coordination without words or signals. The dragon understood her plan without instruction. The Nexari cut down their trapped comrade, who fell heavily to the ground. His armor prevented serious injury, but the psychological impact was evident in their changed formation. They had expected to find a wreck with a corpse. Instead, they faced an unknown threat. The second trap claimed another soldier. A pit concealed by forest debris gave way beneath him, sending him crashing down onto sharpened wooden stakes. The alien screamed a sound that echoed through the trees. His companions pulled him free, but his armor was compromised, punctured in multiple places. Amelia watched dispassionately as they retreated to their ship, calling for reinforcements. She had achieved her objective. The Nexari now knew something had survived the crash. They would return in greater numbers, but also with greater caution. Fear had been planted as darkness fell again. Amelia prepared for the long campaign ahead. This planet would become her battlefield, a testing ground for the most basic human survival skills against the most advanced alien military technology. The war had begun, and the Deathworlder was just getting started. Commander Lily Donovan stood before her assembled squad of 12 elite Nexari soldiers. Her reputation preceded her throughout the collective, never failing a mission, never leaving a target alive. She studied the holographic display showing the dense forests of Veralis where the human escape pod had crashed. 2 of my scouts injured by primitive traps, she said, her voice cold with contempt. This Deathworlder thinks to challenge the might of the Nexari collective. We will show it the error of such defiance. The soldiers straightened their postures in response, their armor gleaming under the harsh lights of the command ship. Each was a veteran of multiple campaigns against various species, yet none had faced a human before. Humans were rare in this sector of the galaxy, their homeworld Earth considered too dangerous to approach directly. Lily activated another hologram, this one showing biological data on humans. The creatures before them looked fragile with minimal natural defenses and limited strength compared to Nexari physiology. Do not be deceived by appearances, she warned. These Deathworlders evolved on a planet with over 50 apex predator species, constant natural disasters, and extreme climate variations. Their bodies appear weak, but their neural systems process danger at speeds we cannot match. Their instincts are honed by millennia of surviving conditions that would exterminate most sentient life. One soldier raised a hand. Commander, what of the reports of genetic modifications? Lily nodded, activating another display showing the altered characteristics of their target. Our intelligence indicates this specimen has undergone the Elfin adaptation suite. Pointed ears, enhanced agility, improved night vision, and heightened reflexes. The modifications are aesthetic in most species, but in humans they amplify already dangerous capabilities. She did not mention the dragon companion. The information was classified, known only to her. Most soldiers would consider such creatures myths. Yet the neural scans from the injured scouts showed glimpses of a small flying creature with impossible biological readings. You deploy at dawn, she concluded. Bring me this human alive, if possible. Dead if necessary. Morning arrived. With a pale violet sunrise casting long shadows through the alien forest, Lily led her team, personally spreading them in a search pattern designed to cover maximum ground while maintaining communication links. The tracking systems in their armor could detect heat signatures, unusual movement, and even the specific radiation signature of human technology. The first soldier fell before midday. His scream cut across the communication network. Before abruptly silencing, Lily ordered 2 soldiers to investigate, finding him suspended upside down 6 meters above the ground. A wire noose had caught his ankle, yanking him upward where sharpened wooden spikes had punctured his suit at multiple joints. The wounds were not fatal, but the precision was unnerving. Each spike had found a weakness in the armor. The human is toying with us, one soldier muttered, earning a sharp glare from Lily. No, she corrected. The human is fighting with the tools available. Primitive, yes, but effective. Recover him and continue the search. The second casualty came 2 hours later. A soldier crossing a small stream suddenly sank into what appeared to be solid ground. Quicksand, mixed with some kind of paralytic agent derived from local plants. When they pulled him free, his exposed skin showed signs of contact sedation. He would live but could no longer fight. By nightfall, a third soldier had been lost to a simple deadfall trap, a massive log studded with stone spikes that swung down from the canopy, catching him directly in the faceplate, shattering his helmet and the skull within. We have underestimated this creature, Lily admitted to her second in command as they established a defensive camp for the night. The human is not running. It is hunting us around. Then the dense forest had grown darker with strange bioluminescent fungi providing the only illumination. The alien world felt suddenly hostile, as if the planet itself had allied with the human against them. Lily ordered enhanced security measures, motion sensors deployed in concentric circles, and 4 soldiers to remain on watch at all times. Despite these precautions, Lily woke to chaos. Dawn revealed 3 weapons missing along with key components from their communications array. The night watch swore nothing had approached, yet the evidence was undeniable. Someone had moved through their camp untouchable, unseen, taking what they needed impossible. One soldier insisted, checking the motion sensors which showed no intrusions. The human must have technology we do not understand. No, Lily replied, examining the ground around their camp. This was done without technology. Look, she pointed to nearly imperceptible indentations in the soft forest floor. Footprints so light they barely registered. The human had crawled inch by inch, taking hours to move through their perimeter, never triggering sensors designed to detect normal movement patterns. That night she ordered the camp moved, doubled the watch, and set up false sleeping arrangements, filled with combat drones instead of soldiers. If the human returned, they would be ready. Ember soared high above the forest, his enhanced vision tracking the Nexari squad from a safe distance. The neural link with Amelia allowed him to transmit everything. He saw directly to her consciousness. She lay hidden in a hollow beneath a fallen tree, processing the information while preparing her next moves. Their commander is smart, Amelia thought, noting how Lily had adapted tactics after each encounter in Maoyu. Nexari leader had tracked her false trails, then doubled back, recognizing the deception. A worthy opponent, Amelia had gathered enough supplies from her nighttime raid to fashion more effective weapons. She worked silently, crafting a compound bow from flexible branches and salvaged fiber materials. The arrows, tipped with paralytic toxins extracted from local plants, would penetrate the joints of Nexari armor, incapacitating without killing. Through Ember, she watched the aliens set up their new camp with improved defenses. They were learning, adapting, becoming more cautious. Such caution would slow their pursuit. Buying her more time to prepare, night fell across the forest again. Amelia moved through the darkness, her elfin modifications allowing her to see clearly where others would be blind. She avoided the new sensor grid, recognizing its pattern from her time studying alien technology. The Nexari relied too heavily on their devices, never developing the natural instincts that kept humans alive on Earth. She circled their position, identifying the soldiers on watch. Their thermal signatures blazed against the cooler background of the forest. Through Ember, she spotted the trap they had laid for her, the false sleeping forms, filled with combat drones. A clever tactic, but obvious to anyone who could sense the different energy patterns of machines versus biological life. Instead of attacking directly, Amelia targeted their resources: the water purifiers, the food synthesizers, the backup power cells. Small sabotage that would not be immediately noticed but would accumulate into significant hardship. By morning, they would find their supplies contaminated with harmless but distasteful fungi, making every meal a struggle to consume. Lily awakened to reports of equipment failures and contaminated supplies. The squad morale was deteriorating rapidly. Several soldiers insisted they had seen shadows moving where none should be. Others reported hearing whispers just beyond their sensor range. The psychological pressure was mounting. Gather everything we have. A new strategy, Lily ordered. We stopped playing the humans' game. We burned the forest flame. Weapons were deployed, scorching wide swaths of vegetation, creating a blackened perimeter around their position. The tactic was extreme, but Lily had recognized the truth. They were not the hunters here. They were being stalked with methodical precision by a creature evolved to survive environments far harsher than anything the Nexari had encountered. The fires spread quickly beyond their control. The alien forest proved highly flammable, creating a conflagration that forced the squad into retreat. From her vantage point in a high cave system, Amelia watched through Ember's eyes as the Nexari fled their own destruction. 8 soldiers remained, now following Lily through smoke and chaos. Their formation had broken, their confidence shattered. As they crossed a narrow ravine, Amelia released her final trap of the day. Carefully weakened rock face collapsed beneath 2 soldiers, sending them tumbling into the chasm below. Lily fired blindly toward the cliff face where Amelia had been moments before, but the human was already moving. Finding new position, new advantage. Through the smoke and flame, Lily caught a glimpse of their tormentor. A slight figure with pointed ears moving with impossible grace across terrain that should have been impassable. For the first time in her decorated career, Commander Lily Donovan felt fear, not for her mission but for her species. The Nexari had awakened something they did not understand. The human was not just surviving, it was winning, and the hunt had only just begun. Smoke lingered in the forest canopy, the aftermath of the Nexari attempt to flush out their prey. Amelia moved silently through the charred undergrowth, her makeshift bow slung across her back and a spear in hand. Ember flew ahead, scouting their path, his scales now a mottled gray to blend with the ash-covered landscape. The dragon suddenly veered off course, his neural signal alerting Amelia to something unusual ahead. She followed cautiously, keeping to the shadows and moving from cover. To cover, the forest gave way to another impact scar much like her own, but fresher. The earth still smoldered around a vessel unlike any Amelia had seen before. Not Nexari design, she observed, studying the sleek contours and unusual markings. The ship was smaller than her escape pod but appeared largely intact. Ember circled above, sending images of an open hatch and signs of movement within. Amelia approached with practiced caution, setting a perimeter of early warning triggers using small stones, balanced on branches. Any disturbance would send them falling, creating noise. She knocked an arrow, moving closer, until she could see inside the damaged craft a figure stirred within, humanoid female, injured but alive. Amelia watched for several minutes, confirming the stranger was alone before making her decision. The woman inside the ship looked up, startled, as Amelia appeared in the hatchway. Elfin features marked them as similar in appearance, though the stranger wore elaborate garments now torn and stained with unfamiliar blue blood. "Who are you?" the stranger asked, then winced, pressing a hand to her side where a makeshift bandage was already soaked through. Amelia kept her weapon ready, Ember landing on her shoulder, his presence causing the stranger's eyes to widen in surprise. "I am Amelia Frost, human." She introduced herself simply. "Who are you and why are you here?" "Sophia Blackwood," the stranger replied, "ambassador of the Eldari Confederacy. I was on a diplomatic mission when Nexari forces attacked my vessel." She grimaced, attempting to stand. "I managed to escape, but my pilot was killed in the attack." The name Eldari triggered recognition in Amelia's mind, fragments of information from her colonial education. The Eldari were an ancient, spacefaring civilization known for their advanced technology in opposition to Nexari expansion. Amelia lowered her weapon slightly. "You need medical attention." Sophia nodded, gesturing to a compartment near the ship's control panel. "My medical supplies are there, but I lack the knowledge to properly treat such injuries. Our species rarely suffers physical trauma." Moving cautiously, Amelia retrieved the indicated supplies, examining the unfamiliar devices before setting them aside. Instead, she knelt beside the injured ambassador and examined the wound. "This needs cleaning and proper closure," she stated matter-of-factly. "Your technology is impressive, but sometimes basic solutions work best." Amelia left the ship, returning shortly with a handful of plants Ember had helped her identify during their first days on the planet. The dragon watched curiously as she crushed the leaves, extracting a sticky sap with antimicrobial properties. "This will sting," Amelia warned before cleaning the wound. Sophia gasped but remained still as Amelia worked with practiced efficiency. Within minutes, she had cleaned, disinfected, and sealed the injury, using a combination of Eldari medical technology and natural remedies. "Where did you learn such skills?" Sophia asked, watching with fascination. "Basic survival training," Amelia replied. "Every human child learns emergency medical care. It's necessary on Earth." Sophia studied her with newfound interest. "You must understand, the Eldari evolved on a world with few predators and stable climate. Our civilization developed technology to compensate for our physical limitations. We never needed to develop the skills you demonstrate so casually." Amelia helped Sophia to her feet, supporting her as they moved outside the damaged vessel. The forest remained quiet, but Ember sensed Nexari forces regrouping several kilometers away. They would resume their hunt soon. "We need to move." Amelia stated, "The Nexari will expand their search pattern once they recover from my traps you created." "Traps that deterred Nexari special forces?" Sophia asked incredulously. "Nothing special." Amelia shrugged. "Just basic countermeasures. Any human scout could manage better with proper supplies, as they gathered essential supplies from the Eldari vessel." Sophia continued to observe Amelia's methods, noting how she evaluated each item for multiple potential uses. Her efficiency was unlike anything the ambassador had witnessed before. "The Nexari call humans Deathworlders," Sophia explained, as they prepared to depart. "Your species is feared throughout known space. Earth is classified as a prohibited world, too dangerous to approach directly." Amelia smiled faintly, finding the concept absurd. Earth was home beautiful, despite its challenges. Its harshness had forged humanity into what they were. Its dangers had taught them to adapt, overcome, survive. A distant explosion echoed through the forest, followed by the distinctive whine of Nexari scout ships. The hunt had resumed with greater force. "They must have called for reinforcements," Amelia concluded. "We need better shelter." The caves in the northern ridge should provide cover and defensive positions as they traveled. Sophia watched Amelia navigate the alien terrain with instinctive ease. The human moved like a natural predator, conserving energy, maintaining awareness of every sound and movement around them. When they stopped briefly to rest, Amelia fashioned new weapons from materials gathered along their path. You created effective tools from nothing, Sophia remarked, watching as Amelia constructed a series of small explosive devices using components from her damaged ship and chemicals extracted from local plants' basic chemistry. Amelia replied, "Another survival skill. Though, not my specialty." Ember suddenly tensed, his scales flashing warning colors. A moment later, Amelia pulled Sophia down into dense undergrowth. As a Nexari scout ship passed overhead, the dragon's enhanced senses had detected the vessel long before it became visible. "The connection between you and your dragon companion," Sophia whispered once the danger had passed. "How is it possible?" "Genetic engineering," Amelia explained. "Ember is biologically linked to my nervous system. We share sensory input and basic communication. The dragons were created to help humans survive hostile environments. Remarkable." Sophia breathed. Such integration of biology and technology. The Eldari have theorized such possibilities but never achieved them. By nightfall, they reached the cave system Amelia had identified. The entrance was narrow, defensible, and Ember confirmed the tunnels extended deep into the mountainside with multiple exit points. A perfect fortress by human standards. As Sophia rested, recovering from her injury, Amelia set up a series of defenses around their position, alarm systems using local wildlife, natural barricades, and carefully placed traps to funnel any attackers into killing zones. The Eldari ambassador watched with growing amazement. "What you consider basic skills would be classified as advanced military tactics among my people." Amelia shrugged, collecting water from a natural spring within the cave. "This is just camping, Sophia. Nothing special." A horrifying thought occurred to Sophia. If these are merely your basic skills, what are humans capable of when actually preparing for war? Amelia paused, her expression unreadable for a moment. "We try not to find out," she said softly. "We hope we never have to show the galaxy what humanity can really do when threatened." Later, as they shared a meal prepared from local plants that Ember had identified as edible, Sophia revealed more about the galactic situation. The Eldari Confederacy had been fighting the Nexari Collective for generations, a cold war occasionally erupting into open conflict. The balance of power remained precarious, with neither side gaining significant advantage. The Nexari seek to enslave all other species. Sophia explained, "They believe themselves evolutionarily superior. Their military strength comes from numbers and technology, not individual capability. Their soldiers operate like hive extensions," Amelia observed. "They rely on orders and equipment. Take those away, and they become vulnerable." "Exactly," Sophia agreed, "which is why your abilities fascinate me so. A single human without advanced technology has neutralized an elite Nexari unit. The Confederacy has been searching for allies with the strength to help turn the tide." As dawn approached, Amelia tensed, sensing Ember's alarm. The dragon had detected movement approaching their position. Nexari forces had finally tracked them to the caves. "They come in force this time," Amelia noted. 30 soldiers at least, plus air support." Sophia looked concerned. "We cannot defeat such numbers." Amelia smiled, a predator baring teeth. "We don't need to defeat them, we only need to survive, and survival is what humans do best." The war had entered a new phase, and the Deathworlder had found an ally. Commander Lily Donovan stood alone at the edge of the forest, clearing her armor, scorched and damaged. Beyond her, the massive Nexari battlecruiser Dominance hovered above the trees, its imposing silhouette blocking the alien sun. She was the last survivor of her original team. The others lost to traps, ambushes, or the strange corrosive substance that the humans somehow controlled. Nexari soldiers disembarked from the cruiser, forming precise rows before her. Their commander approached, a tall figure whose ornate armor signified high-rank Admiral Kresh, architect of the planned Earth invasion. and her direct superior. "You failed to capture one human." The Admiral stated, his voice cold through the translator. "Not just a human," Sir Lily replied. "One Deathworlder with genetic modifications and abilities our intelligence never warned us about. She killed 11 of my elite soldiers using primitive tools and knowledge of the environment. The reports about human capabilities were severely understated." Admiral Kresh studied the forest with contempt. "Such primitive conditions, yet you claim this creature thrives here. They are adapted to environments far harsher than this." Lily insisted, "I have witnessed the human create weapons from plants, fashion complex traps from natural materials, and navigate without technology. She moves without triggering our most sensitive detection equipment." The Admiral activated a holographic display showing the planet's surface. "Find this human, Commander. Your career depends on it. I have brought 500 soldiers and full aerial support. Nothing survives such force deep within the cave system." Amelia led Sophia through winding tunnels mapped from memory during her initial exploration. Ember flew ahead, his bioluminescent scales providing just enough light to navigate the darkness. The dragon had grown notably since their arrival on the planet, now the size of a large eagle. His abilities had similarly expanded, developing a corrosive spray that could melt through Nexari armor. How much farther, Sophia asked, her wounds still healing, though Amelia's treatments had accelerated the process. "Not far," Amelia replied. "The tunnel opens into a valley beyond Nexari sensor range. We can circle back to your ship from there. I need components to enhance our communications. If the Eldari Confederacy is nearby, we might signal them." The tunnel suddenly widened, revealing an underground chamber illuminated by phosphorescent fungi. Amelia stopped abruptly, raising her hand in warning. Ember tensed, his scales shifting to alert crimson. "We are not alone," the dragon transmitted through their neural link. "Others wait ahead." Figures emerged from shadowed recesses surrounding them with weapons drawn. Unlike the Nexari, these beings resembled Sophia, tall with elegant features and pointed ears. Their weapons, however, were far more advanced than anything Amelia had encountered. "Stand down, Commander," a voice ordered. The figures immediately lowered their weapons, as another Eldari stepped forward. This one wore elaborate robes marked with symbols of authority. "My apologies, Ambassador Blackwood. We detected your emergency beacon, but feared a Nexari trap." Sophia straightened her posture, formal diplomacy returning. To her bearing, "Commander Valen, this is Amelia Frost of Earth, a human Deathworlder who saved my life and has been fighting the Nexari forces single-handedly." The commander studied Amelia with undisguised fascination. "I have never met a human before. Your reputation precedes you, though I see now our intelligence reports were incomplete." The Eldari led them deeper into the cavern system, revealing a hidden outpost carved into the mountain. Technologies beyond human understanding lined the walls: monitoring systems, communication arrays, and weapons caches. "This outpost has remained undetected for decades," Valen explained as they entered the central command chamber. "We observe Nexari movements throughout this sector." Amelia approached a holographic display showing real-time imagery of the Nexari battlecruiser and deployed forces. 500 ground troops she counted, plus air support. "They certainly escalated quickly. They fear what they do not understand," Valen remarked. "The Nexari encountered humans only once before. A small exploratory vessel met a human mining ship near your solar system. The humans' crew, having no military training or weapons, still managed to capture the Nexari vessel when it attempted hostile action. Since then, your species has been classified as extremely dangerous." Sophia joined them at the display. "The Nexari fear humans might unite with the Confederacy. Our alliance could shift the balance of power throughout known space." Amelia studied the tactical information, her mind calculating possibilities. "Tell me, Commander, what do you know about Earth as my colony ship, the only human vessel to be attacked?" Valen hesitated, exchanging glances with Sophia before answering. "The Nexari have been monitoring Earth from a distance. Your planet was not destroyed as you may have believed. The attack on your colony ship was a test to assess human capabilities before deciding whether to eradicate or enslave humanity. Relief flooded through Amelia. Earth still existed. Her family might be alive. The colony ship had been traveling to establish humanity's first extrasolar settlement when the attack occurred. She had assumed Earth was already lost. Ember sensed her emotions, the dragon pressing against her leg in comfort. Through their link, she felt his fierce protectiveness. We intercepted Nexari communications. Valen continued activating another display, this time showing transmission data. They plan a full invasion of Earth within 30 solar cycles. They believe humans must be subjugated before they develop interstellar military capacity. Amelia processed this information, her mind already formulating strategies. Earth had advanced defenses, but nothing capable of repelling a full Nexari invasion fleet. The planet would fall unless something changed the equation. "How many ships in your outpost?" she asked. Valen looked surprised by the question. 3 scout vessels only. This is an observation post, not a military base. Our main fleet is currently engaged in the Proxima sector. Then we need to send them a message. Amelia stated 1. They cannot ignore. Show me your communication systems. The Eldari led her to their communications array, an impressive setup capable of transmitting encrypted data across vast distances. The technology was far beyond human development, but the principles remained familiar. Amelia examined the equipment, then turned to Sophia and Valen. "I can get you proof of Nexari intentions direct from their command ship." "Impossible," Valen objected. "Their security is impenetrable. Our agents have tried for decades." "They expect Eldari agents," Amelia countered. "They do not understand humans. I have a plan, but it requires your technology. And significant risk." Sophia stepped forward. "Tell us." Using components from the Eldari outpost and Sophia's damaged ship, Amelia worked through the night creating a neural implant that would allow her to broadcast her sensory experiences directly to the Eldari fleet. The device interfaced with her existing connection to Ember, enhancing their bond while adding transmission capabilities. "This is unprecedented technology," Valen observed, watching her work. "Human neural patterns should be incompatible with our systems. Adaptability is our strength," Amelia replied, making final adjustments. "Humans integrate with almost anything given enough motivation." By dawn, her preparations were complete. The plan was simple in concept but extremely dangerous in execution. Amelia would allow herself to be captured, using the opportunity to infiltrate the Nexari command ship. Meanwhile, Ember would remain hidden within her genetic modification chamber, a pocket dimension originally designed to keep the dragon safe during space travel. The chamber was a marvel of human engineering, creating a small pocket of subspace within Amelia's own biology, where Nexari scanners would detect only minor genetic modifications. The chamber actually contained enough space for Ember to remain concealed until needed. This plan borders on suicidal. Sophia protested as Amelia prepared to leave the safety of the outpost. Perhaps Amelia acknowledged, but it's standard human procedure when facing overwhelming odds. Sometimes the best defense is a completely unexpected offense. Valen provided her with advanced stealth technology to approach the Nexari perimeter. Once there, she would intentionally trigger their sensors, allowing herself to be captured. Their intelligence indicated all prisoners were brought directly to Admiral Kresh for interrogation. Ember curled against her chest one final time before retreating into the genetic chamber, his scaled body shimmering before vanishing from normal space. The sensation of his presence remained a warm awareness in Amelia's mind. "Eldari will monitor everything through the neural implant," Sophia explained. "If you succeed, we will have the evidence needed to convince the Confederacy Council to commit our full fleet to Earth's defense. If you fail," Amelia smiled, "humans rarely consider failure an option." She departed the outpost, moving silently through the alien forest toward the Nexari encampment. The massive battle cruiser hovered above the clearing, its weapons capable of reducing the entire region to ash. Through Ember's enhanced senses, she detected hundreds of soldiers patrolling the perimeter, their movements methodical but nervous. These were not the elite forces she had decimated earlier, but regular troops briefed about the dangerous human they sought. Taking a deep breath, Amelia stepped into a clearing, allowing her heat signature to register on their sensors. Immediately, alarms sounded. Soldiers converging on her position, weapons ready. She raised her hands, showing empty palms, as spotlights found her, Commander Lily. Donovan approached her weapon trained on Amelia's chest. The commander studied her with a mixture of respect and wariness. The interior of the Nexari command vessel. Dominance gleamed with cold efficiency. Amelia stood in the center of a circular chamber, her hands bound by energy restraints that would have been impossible to break through conventional means. Soldiers lined the walls, their weapons trained on the human Deathworlder, who had caused such devastation. Admiral Kresh entered the chamber, his tall form radiating authority and disdain. The Admiral circled Amelia, studying her with clinical interest. "So this is what the collective fears," he said finally. A fragile creature with pointed ears barely standing upright. I expected something more impressive. Lily Donovan stood nearby, her posture stiff with unresolved tension. "Do not underestimate her, Admiral. This human eliminated my entire squad using nothing but primitive tools and knowledge of the environment." Kresh waved a dismissive hand, approaching Amelia with arrogant confidence. The human maintained an expression of calm neutrality, revealing nothing. Through the neural implant hidden beneath her skin, Amelia knew the Eldari outpost was receiving everything she witnessed. The evidence gathering had begun. "Tell me, Deathworlder," Kresh demanded. "How does your kind survive on such a hostile world as Earth? Our probes indicate constant natural disasters, predatory creatures, and extreme climate variations." Amelia met his gaze directly. "We adapt, we learn, we overcome. It's our nature." The Admiral activated a holographic display showing images of Earth cities, mountains, oceans, and forests. "Your planet is primitive, yet your species thrives there. How practice?" Amelia replied simply, "Every human child learns to make weapons, find food, outsmart predators. It's not special. It's necessary." "Necessary," Kresh repeated with disbelief. "These skills you displayed defeating trained soldiers, creating weapons from plants, manufacturing explosives from natural compounds. Are these common abilities among humans? What you call survival skills we call Tuesday," Amelia explained calmly. "Nothing I did would impress most humans. I am considered average at best." The Admiral studied the readings from her neural patterns, searching for deception, finding none. He gestured to a nearby console. "Your companion, the small, flying creature. Where is it hidden?" Amelia maintained her neutral expression. Ember remained dormant within the genetic chamber, waiting for her signal. The dragon had been feeding on energy from the ship's core, growing stronger by the minute. "Your invasion of Earth will fail, Admiral," she stated, changing the subject. "Humans have faced extinction-level threats throughout our evolution. Each time we emerged stronger, more adaptable, more dangerous. Your forces are impressive but predictable. You rely on technology and numbers, not individual capability. Each soldier requires orders, equipment, support. Remove those and they falter." Kresh laughed, a harsh sound through the translator. "Such primitive arrogance. Our invasion force comprises 15,000 ships, millions of soldiers, and weapons that can render your entire planet uninhabitable within hours. What can Deathworlders do against such power?" Amelia smiled for the first time since her capture. "Show you what real adaptation looks like," she sent the mental signal through their neural link. Ember emerged. The genetic chamber activated a swirling vortex of energy forming around Amelia as the restraints flickered and failed. The ship system suddenly fluctuated, power surging unpredictably. As Ember materialized beside her, the dragon had transformed dramatically, now the size of a small shuttle, his wingspan stretching across the chamber, scales gleaming with absorbed energy from the ship's core systems. Nexari soldiers opened fire, their weapons discharging energy bolts that Ember simply absorbed, growing larger with each impact. The dragon released a roar that shattered control panels and sent soldiers staggering backward. "Impossible," Kresh gasped, backing away from the creature. "What technology is this?" "Not technology," Amelia corrected as she rolled beneath a soldier's desperate attack, emerging with his weapon. "Evolution and adaptation. Through the neural implant, the Eldari fleet received real-time footage of the chaos unfolding aboard the Nexari flagship. The evidence they needed to commit their forces to Earth's defense alarms blared throughout the vessel, as Ember unleashed corrosive spray melting through walls and weapons alike. Amelia moved with impossible speed for such a seemingly fragile being. Her neural pathways processed danger at rates the Nexari physiology could not comprehend. What appeared to be superhuman reflexes was simply the result of evolving on a world where split-second decisions meant survival. Or Death Commander Lily watched in horrified fascination as the human dismantled elite guards using their own weapons against them, techniques that seemed improvised yet devastatingly effective. The truth dawned on her with terrible clarity. Humans did not train for war. They lived it daily. Their entire existence was preparation for survival against overwhelming odds. Outside the Nexari vessel, the sky suddenly filled with light. As Eldari warships emerged from hyperspace, Sophia had convinced the Confederacy to commit their forces based on the evidence Amelia was transmitting. The balance of power shifted in an instant, Admiral. Kresh found himself cornered, his escape routes blocked by the growing dragon and advancing human. His elite guards lay unconscious or dead around him, victims of what the Deathworlder had called basic skills. How Kresh demanded his composure, finally breaking. "How can you do this?" Amelia approached the Admiral calmly despite the chaos surrounding them. "Humans are not special, Admiral. We simply never had the luxury of weakness. Earth forged us through fire and pain, teaching us that adaptation is not optional, but essential. Every human carries the legacy of countless ancestors who refused to surrender to environments that should have killed them." Ember growled, his massive form now blocking the main entrance to the chamber, his scales pulsing with absorbed energy. The dragon could sense reinforcements approaching, but they would arrive too late. Amelia continued circling the Admiral. "This is the reality you failed to understand. When you attack a Deathworlder, you face not just an individual, but the collective survival instinct of an entire species that has never accepted extinction as an option. Through her neural link, Amelia received confirmation that the Eldari fleet had engaged the Nexari forces. The battle above the planet had begun, with the Confederacy now fully committed to stopping the planned invasion of Earth. "What happens now, Deathworlder?" Kresh asked, his voice subdued by the realization of what his empire had awakened. "Now," Amelia replied, "you witness what happens when you threaten a species that evolved on a world where everything was designed to kill them." The Nexari flagship shuddered as Eldari weapons found their mark. Systems failed throughout the vessel as Ember continued absorbing and redirecting energy. The dragon had exceeded all genetic parameters, growing and evolving in response to the unique circumstances, just as humans had always done. Admiral Kresh watched in horror as the creature's corrosive breath began melting through his command chair. The last thing he heard before emergency systems engaged was Amelia's whispered warning, "And just so you know, considered mediocre by human standards. Wait until you meet our actual warriors." 3 days later, Amelia stood on the bridge of the Eldari flagship Luminance, watching as the remaining Nexari vessels retreated from the system. The battle had been decisive, the collective forces unprepared for the combined might of Eldari technology and human unpredictability. Sophia approached, her formal diplomatic robes replaced with practical attire, better suited for their coming journey. "The Confederacy Council has approved our mission," she announced. "We depart for Earth immediately with a diplomatic envoy. Your people will be offered full alliance status and protection." Amelia nodded, watching as Ember soared alongside the ship, visible through the massive viewport. The dragon had stabilized at his new size, becoming a symbol of the unexpected partnership that would reshape galactic power. The Nexari never understood what they were facing. Sophia remarked, "What seemed like extraordinary abilities to them were simply basic survival skills to you." Amelia smiled, watching the stars streaking past as the fleet prepared to jump. This was just the beginning. The galaxy was about to learn why Deathworlders had survived against all odds, and why threatening Earth was the last mistake any species would make. The war had revealed a fundamental truth. Some creatures evolved to exist, some evolved to conquer. But humans, they evolved to survive. No matter the cost, no matter the odds. And that made all the difference.